I think for me and for a lot of people at Making Contact, the combination of caring about social change and using media, whatever it is. For me, it started with video and then it went into radio. But for all of us, I think there's been a path of seeing what's going on in the world and seeing that certain people are not heard. And if we don't have our voices, we really can't tell our stories. And if we can't tell our stories, we can't access power and make change.
In every culture, at every time, in every piece of history, there are going to be things that people don't want you to look at. And that's exactly where Making Contact goes to shine the spotlight. So the topics may change, but the process will never change. In addition to that, the things that have been hard fought and hard won are never really won. Because look at what's happening to voting rights in this country today. Okay? Who would have thought that voting rights, especially from African Americans and Latinos, were going to be restricted as much as they are today, legally as well as just, illegally not bringing the vote to people.
What we're going to do with Making Contact in the future is a continuation of the good work we've been doing in the past, meaning focusing on the collaborations, meaning providing a platform for marginalized and unheard voices, and providing ways that we can tell stories, unpack complicated policy issues, and shine a light on some of the news, information, and occurrences that are happening around the world now that unfortunately don't get covered by mostly mainstream media outlets.
What's really great about this show and this organization is that it's an opportunity to tell long-form stories about important issues. So much of what you hear on the radio is 1 minute long, 2 minutes long, maybe 4 or 5 minutes long if you're lucky. And there's not a lot of context you can give in those, and there's not a lot of context you can give in that length of time. You have to get to the point really quickly. We allow a story to breathe, is one way to put it. We allow you to get context, hear from different voices, hear more than just a 10 or 15 second or sometimes 5-second soundbite, which is what you hear in the rest of the media.
At the time, I was working at the Data Center, which is in the same building and does research in collaboration with grassroots social justice organizations. And this young Native American activist had come to the Data Center and was really interested in learning how to do participatory research, which is story collecting research. It's basically saying facts and figures aren't the whole picture. It's the kind of, when you put stories together and develop a picture that way, that's also an important form of knowledge, and it's a form of knowledge that resides in communities, in people's experiences.
So some of the content that we put out for our show are film adaptations. And this one in particular, Hawaii, A Voice for Sovereignty, we chose to do because it chronicles the history of U.S. occupation on the island of Hawaii. And as we went through it, we realized that it's not a topic that I think many of us really know about or think about, how Hawaii was actually overtaken in a very violent way. And a lot of its residents, a lot of Native Hawaiians, see statehood as something that they're not aligned with, they're not attuned to. And so we thought
the corporate-owned media would tell the story of Governor Brown of California signing a bill to stop shackling. End of story. What we tell is the story of 5 years of people in prison, their families, their advocates, petitioning, lobbying, all the organizing that often gets left out of the story. I really feel proud that we told the story about people collectively making change.
That was the philosophy behind it. Why do we need to do this? And why do we need to have the voices that aren't heard? And I was saying that's the connection between social, environmental, and economic activism and journalism is that, if you're going to be active, you want it to be heard.